The Northeast Kingdom at 101.9 W270BR Island Park. The Brady Farkas Show is produced and funded by WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group. We welcome listener feedback. Email your comments to WDEV at radiovermont.com.
Energy. So the barber trims my beard all nice, like an artist. Now, I didn't tell him to do that. I wanted the beard gone. So then I went home and shaved it off completely after I was done. I felt horrible.
The passion.
Rafael Devers is the biggest contract in franchise history. He needs to be a leader for this Red Sox team.
The opinions on all your favorite teams.
Are the Patriots close to playoff contention? Yes. Are they close to Super Bowl contention? Hell no.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday here on the Brady Farkas Show, brought to you by Fecto Homes on WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. Short show today. We got 40 minutes. We're up until 6:10, 5:30 until 6:10, and then we bring you Red Sox baseball. Sox taking on the Cardinals, start of a weekend series at Fenway. Return of the Big Maple tonight. James Paxton, called the Big Maple because he hails from Canada. It's also quite a large human. So first pitch there is 7:10. It'll be Paxton's first start since 2021. As someone who watched him for a number of years with the Mariners, I'm rooting for him. I fear that he's not going to be great in this run for the Red Sox. But again, I've been wrong before. I hope I'm wrong again. I like Paxton. I think if he's good, it would be a huge boost to this team. You can get in, as always, on the text line, 802-585-3026. And again, we go up until 6:10 today. The opening thoughts of the Brady Farkas Show are brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and by Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. I want to give the Boston Celtics credit. I want to give the Celtics credit for a couple of different things. Yesterday was obviously not perfect. We know about Jayson Tatum's struggles. We'll get to that momentarily. But the Celtics did win. They won on the road. By the end of the show yesterday, I had predicted them to win, but I was worried that they could have wilted in that game. They didn't. Philly made a couple of runs. The Celtics still withheld their ground and end up finishing the deal. They win the game, 95-86, Game 7, coming up on Sunday. We don't know what time yet, but we know it will be at TD Garden. I'm going to give the Celtics credit for the following. The things that we have asked of them and or the things that we have criticized them for, they largely got done yesterday. I asked the Celtics yesterday to come out and have a commitment to defense. I said the Celtics could not win this game if it was 128-126. This game was played like a 1980s playoff game, 95-86. When the game is played that low, I trust the Celtics to win. They didn't need to only allow Philly 86 points, but that's what they accomplished, and that was great to see. It was a return to Celtics defense. We know that under Joe Mazzulla, the team is more offensively minded than it was under Ime Udoka. Okay, you can have your preference of what you like better, but in the playoffs, you need defense, and we hadn't seen it enough from this group. We saw it yesterday. So we asked for them to come out committed to defense. They did. They were. Check. I asked for the Celtics to get off to a good start. Well, Jayson Tatum got off to a terrible start. The Celtics themselves had a 7-point lead at the end of the first quarter. Now, they had a huge lead to start, right? They're up 15-3. They let Philly back in the game, but they pull away once again at the end of the first quarter, and they show Philly, you know what? It's not going to be easy for you tonight. And that's what I asked. I didn't want to see the Celtics down 12 at the end of one because then I think they would have wilted. But they get up big early. They end the first quarter up 7, and they at least send the message to Philly, okay, we are here to play. It is not going to just be you at home with the crowd taking momentum. Number 3, we have criticized the Celtics for not having a killer instinct. I have criticized the Celtics for Jayson Tatum not having a killer instinct. And yesterday, he did. Jayson Tatum was horrific first 3 quarters of that game, right? 3 points. Didn't have a field goal. At one point through 3 quarters, right? Didn't have a field goal until the 4th quarter. Jayson Tatum was awful. No, he had 3 points going into the 4th quarter. He got the kind of the little runner there at the start of the 3rd quarter. 3 points going into the 4th quarter. He was horrific. But he showed the killer instinct when he needed to. And he showed something that, frankly, we haven't seen of for a bit here. I have said closing time, I want Jaylen Brown with the ball in his hand. Jayson Tatum had the ball in his hands, hit 4 threes in the 4th quarter. He scored 16 points in the 4th. He outscored the Sixers team. Sixers scored 13 points in the 4th quarter. Jayson Tatum had 16. Yesterday, he was a closer. And you have to give him credit for that. You have to give him credit for being a closer. You have to give him credit for sticking with it. It is not easy, right? When you are playing poorly, it is easy for that to snowball on you. When you have habitually played poorly in this series, it is easy for it to snowball on you. It is easy for you to not want the ball. It is easy for you to defer. It is easy for you to shy away. In the 4th quarter, Jayson Tatum didn't do that. He made the right plays and gave it up when he needed to, but he also took shots when he needed to, and he kept shooting. Nobody wants to see their line at any point reading, 1 for 14 or 0 for 11. But Jayson Tatum, credit to him that he stayed in the game, he stayed engaged, he found other ways to be involved while he wasn't scoring. And then when it came time for clutch time, when it came time for finishing time, Jayson Tatum was there. He deserves a lot of credit for that. You can't pull that rabbit out of your hat every game. At some point, Jayson Tatum's going to have to be the Jayson Tatum that can get you a bucket at will. 30 points, 40 points, 47 points, something like that. But last night, he gets a lot of credit. And I also give credit to his teammates because his teammates stuck by him as well. It would have been easy for them to splinter. It would have been easy for them to phase him out. It would have been easy for them to not give him the ball. It would have been easy for them to try to do too much. They just kept trusting him. And that's important too. Jaylen Brown, after the game, talked about what he said to Tatum.
Keep going. I believe in you. Whoever was on something can't guard you. Stop being apprehensive and just go. And if you ask him, they'll probably say that's just exactly how I drew it up. All right, but they don't gotta be pretty. You just gotta get.
I mean, Marcus Smart said something similar. Joe Mazzulla said, I went up to him, I told him I loved him. That's a team, right? That's a team. And that was good to see, and that was good to hear. Celtics deserve a lot of credit. I like to think that I'm fair. I criticized them after the loss against Atlanta, criticized them after the loss in Game 5. When there's praise to be had, I like to think I give it to them, and they deserve it today. Came out, defensive mindset, 13 points in the 4th quarter. They finished it defensively as well, 86 points total, phenomenal. Tatum stuck with it, credit to him. His teammates stuck beside him, credit to them. They started out well. And the other thing I asked for is I asked for other guys to do things, right? It couldn't just be the Tatum and Brown show. And there was Marcus Smart with a team-high 22. There was Malcolm Brogdon with 16 off the bench, including 4 threes. And there was Robert Williams starting, playing more minutes than usual, 28 minutes, getting 10 points instead of 4, getting 9 rebounds, blocking shots, altering shots in the lane, changing the way Philly did things offensively. Celtics did what exactly we asked them to do. They deserve to be rewarded for that. And now, as a result, I think they're going to win Game 7. I do. I just can't see this team dropping a 3rd game at home. I can't. I can't see the Celtics who showed us that they can play that defense, allowing 110 points again to Philly. I can't see James Harden, Joel Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey all going off. One of them, sure. I can't see 3 of them going off. The Celtics showed us that they can play elite level defense. I think we're going to see it on Sunday. I think the Celtics are going to win this series. I think they're going to get back to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then I think they'll probably play Miami, who they played last year in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I just think they're better than Miami. And I think they're going to get back to the NBA Finals. That's how quickly here, that's how goofy the Celtics are, that one day you think they're dead, and the next day I've got them penciled into the finals. It's not always pretty. It's not always effective. But I think they're going to get the job done. 802-585-3026. Your thoughts on the Celtics. A lot of good. There was something very weird, though, after the game. Did you hear about what Marcus Smart said about Joe Mazzulla? After the game, Marcus Smart was asked about Mazzulla starting Robert Williams alongside Al Horford. Here's what Smart said.
Think about it. To be able to have Rob in there, he changes the game a lot. Being able to have a loud threat, a rim threat to be able to protect the rim on the other end. He's huge for us, and I was proud to have him on the court. And that just goes to show, Joe's learning, just like all of us. I know he's been killed a lot, rightfully so. He needs to make some adjustments, and he's did that. And that's all you can ask for. Just continue to be the best he can be, and it takes everybody. It's a full team effort.
Marcus Smart says that Joe Mazzulla has been killed for decision making, adjustments, etc. And then he adds, rightfully so. I don't love that. I was checking out Adam Kaufman, our guy, Celtics Insider from WBZ Radio in Boston on Twitter, and I liked what he had to say best. It's not a great comment. It's one that Smart probably may have to apologize for behind closed doors. Overall, the sentiment is probably okay if you listen to the full 32 seconds. I think what Marcus Smart is getting at is accountability, right? We're all accountable. We all have to grow. We all make mistakes. We all learn. We all have to adapt. We all have to evolve. I think at the end, when you piece it all together, it's probably okay because it probably comes from a good place of, hey, Joe got crushed. He deserved it. He learned. He adapted. He's accountable. He moves on. He grows. And that's what we all have to do too. I think that's probably what Smart means. But I don't love that stuff publicly to the media. And if I'm Marcus Smart, I'm probably apologizing to Joe Mazzulla, behind closed doors today. I think Marcus Smart meant it. It's probably okay that he meant it. I'm not a fan of giving that stuff up to the media. Again, as a media person, I love it because of the fodder. I love it because it gives us stuff to talk about. But as a fan of the team, I do not like distractions. I do not like controversy. I do not like throwing people under the bus, and I do not like it happening publicly. So when Marcus Smart says our head coach has been killed, rightfully so, that raises eyebrows to me. And then Smart went on to say, this is the one that actually bothers me more. Smart goes on to say that, we're kind of helping Mazzulla learn here.
Different, but it helps us as players because when you think about it in the grand scheme, we're teaching them as well, and we're teaching ourselves. We get to learn more about ourselves. It allows Jayson, it allows Jaden, it allows me to be more vocal on the court and to go figure things out, and we're doing it together. So, it's not going to be perfect. Joe's not perfect. He's just put in a very tough situation this year, and he's doing the best he can. And that's all we can ask for. We're going to continue to go out there and work our tails off for him, just like he's going to go out there and continue to work his tail off for us.
So that's the comment probably that I don't love more. I think for this year, it's okay. I think that dynamic this year is okay. In the future, I think it presents a problem. And here's what I mean. I think Joe Mazzulla right now knows where he's at, right? I'm a first-year head coach. I've never even been a head assistant. My lead assistant, Damon Stoudemire, is gone. Will Hardy, a guy who was on the staff, is now the coach of the Jazz. I think this year, Joe Mazzulla is probably okay leaning on guys, right? Learning from guys, asking for help, taking more input from guys. I think this year, Joe Mazzulla is like, hey, let's do this collectively, because he understands, has the self-awareness to know where he's at. But in the future, next year, I think Joe Mazzulla, right, he's going to come in with a different level of experience, with a different mindset, with a different, tools in his toolbox. And next year, I think, is different, where I don't think he's going to need the players' input as much, but the players are going to feel like they have the right to give it to him. Does that make sense? 802-585-3026. This year, I think Joe Mazzulla needs the help of everybody. Next year, Joe Mazzulla is not going to need as much help, right? He's going to know. He's going to have an offseason to plan. He's going to have an offseason to prep. He's going to go through the draft. He's going to watch Summer League. He's going to have ideas. He's going to be able to formulate those ideas through the offseason. He's going to be more in tune with the contract stuff. He's going to have more meetings with Brad Stevens. Next year, Joe Mazzulla is going to come in with a plan, with an idea, and knowing and understanding what he wants to do. Next year, he's not going to need the help of his players as much, but I think his players will think, hey, we did it last year. It worked out well. We're going to do it this year. And I don't want to see friction built off that, where Joe Mazzulla says something, and then Marcus Smart is like, coach, come on, man. Hey, this is how we want to do it. Or Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown are saying, we don't want to call that play. We want to call this play. This play is going to work better. Like, the head coach needs to have authority. And this year, I think he's probably rightfully given up some of that authority. But Marcus Smart is telling you that, hey, basically, we're teaching him how to coach. And I worry that next year, they're going to feel like the same dynamic exists when it doesn't. The next year, that same dynamic will not exist. I do not think that is necessarily a great comment for the future. One future thing on the Celtics, yesterday we talked about Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum being eligible for the Supermax extensions. Could they fit them in? Do they want to fit them both in? Will they both accept? Bobby Marks of ESPN says, yes, it is possible to pay out the $613 million total.
And you won't feel the teeth of the CBA. I think it's a little more complicated when Tatum kicks in 2025, 26. I would say that, the worst thing you could do is just pivot, right? You do what Utah did with Mitchell and Gobert. That at the end of the day, you sign these players. If things don't work out and you feel like you have to kind of move off one of the other, they're still going to have tremendous value. One's 25, the other's 26.
Yeah, I think that's the smart way of thinking about it. And I hadn't thought about that necessarily before. I think the Celtics absolutely should offer both of them the contracts. I hope that they both accept. I know Tatum will. Brown is a little more of a question mark. I imagine he will as well. Again, I don't know that everything is going to be hunky-dory once he does that. I still think he has issues, city, organization, etc. But it's still worth it. And if you can't make it work, then yeah, you do what Utah did. And look, the Jazz got a zillion picks, first-round picks for Rudy Gobert for Minnesota. And both Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum are better than are more valuable than Rudy Gobert. They got a bunch of stuff for Donovan Mitchell. Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum are in the Donovan Mitchell vein. I would say Brown a little less valuable than Mitchell, Tatum a little more valuable than Mitchell. So you offer them both, you try to sign them both, you try to make it work with both, and if it doesn't, understand that you can always get out of it probably fairly easily, provided these guys aren't hurt. You can get out of these contracts fairly easily by going to get picks. It's the Brady Farkas Show, brought to you by Fecto Homes on WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. The Patriots schedule is out. We'll recap it in 60 seconds on DEV.
Are you looking to get rid of your used mobile home? Here at Fecto Homes, we don't just sell new mobile homes. We also buy used. If you have a used mobile home that you are looking to sell, we can either accept it as trade and apply the value to a new home with us, or purchase it outright. We offer fair prices and quick removal of your mobile home. So reach out to us for a quote today. Fecto Homes, 350 River Street, Montpelier, or visit us at fectohomes.com for more information.
Local businesses advertise with WDEV because they get results.
We've done a broad selection of other stations, and DEV kind of represents an interesting niche. It's been one of our better producing stations. DEV has a dedicated and responsive audience, so as an advertiser, there's not much more you can ask for. Paul LaShore from Green Mountain Solar.
Interested in advertising on WDEV? Contact us at WDEV@radiovermont.com.
The WDEV studio is sponsored by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's largest independent home center, powered by Marvin Doors and Windows. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
Make your opinion heard by texting onto the Brady Farkas Show at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. We're 20 minutes away from Red Sox baseball. Sox will take on the Cardinals tonight. That's going up at 7:10. James Paxton is on the mound. Patriots schedule came out yesterday, and I will say this. I think the Patriots got a relatively good draw for their schedule. Their schedule is hard. They have by opponent win percentage from last year, the third hardest schedule in football. So no matter where you turn, they're going to be playing hard teams. That said, I think the sequencing of games actually is pretty fair to them. It's given them a reasonable path to navigate this schedule. I mean, look, let's just look at it. Now, I'm not going to do a whole win-loss thing. I don't believe in going through 17 games in May and telling you, oh, they're going to win this one, they're going to win that one. I think the Patriots are between a 7-win and a 9-win team. I saw Tom Curran of NBC Sports Boston think they're going to win 12. I saw Adam Kaufman say he thinks they're going to win 10. I am not that bullish on this team. I think they are between a 7 and a 9-win team. A lot of it depends on injuries to themselves, injuries to their opponents. But the sequencing of the schedule is fair. Week 1 at home against Philly. Philly's better than them. I would say Philly's going to win that game. But if you're going to have that game, week 1 is a good time to have it, right? You get 4 months for Bill Belichick to prepare for Jalen Hurts. You get an Eagles team that, like, every team is different in September than they are in November. You get an Eagles team with a bunch of new pieces, a bunch of early draft picks that aren't quite assimilated yet, that have never played a game. If you're going to play the Eagles, play them early before they are who they ultimately morph into, and also play them at home with the emotion of the crowd, with Tom Brady coming back. That's about as good a situation as you can have to play the reigning NFC champions. I like that in the sequence. Week 2, you're home again. You take on Miami. It's a night game. I think Miami is probably just as good or better than New England. I lean better, but you get them at night. Night game, prime time. How is Tua in prime time? How are the Dolphins in prime time? How is Mike McDaniel in prime time here? You get a prime time game. Again, you've got the crowd in your favor in a big way Sunday night. That, I think, works in the Patriots' favor. Then you go to the Jets. I would imagine that's a loss. Taking on Aaron Rodgers on the road. Jets have a hard schedule. They're looking at the Patriots and saying that's our biggest winnable game early. So I think that's tough. Then you go to Dallas. I think that's tough. Then you come back, you take on the Saints. Saints aren't as good. Whole NFC South is not as good. It's a winnable game. I like Derek Carr. Saints have some good pieces, but it's a winnable game. Then you go to Vegas. Winnable game again. Vegas is fine, but you know Jimmy Garoppolo, you know Josh McDaniels. That's 2 winnable games back to back. Then you get Buffalo. Very hard game. Then you go to Miami week 8. Why do I like this matchup? You're not going to South Beach in December when the Patriots have notoriously struggled. 2 division games back-to-back is hard. I'm a fan of not playing Miami in December. Then you get 2 winnable games in a row. Washington and Indy. The Indy game is in Germany. That's 2 winnable games there before the bye. You come out of the bye, winnable game against the Giants. I know they made the playoffs last year. I'm not a huge fan of Daniel Jones at $40 million. I don't know what the Giants are going to have around him this year. Chargers, tough game, luckily, at home. Then you take on Pittsburgh on a short week on a Thursday. Very tough game. But you get an extra day to prepare. You get an extra long time to prepare for a Monday game against Kansas City. If there's ever a time to face Kansas City, face them at home and face them off of what is the mini bye +1. Thursday against Pittsburgh, extra time to prepare after that, extra time to recover, and then an extra day on top of it to take on KC. And then the end of the schedule, I think, is brutal. You're at Denver on Christmas Eve. That's a weird week. You're at Buffalo on New Year's Eve, and then you're home to finish out against the Jets. I think the Patriots have a hard first 2 weeks early against teams that went to the playoffs. Playoff teams in 3 of the first 4 weeks when you include Dallas. End of the season, at Denver, at Buffalo, home for the Jets, who might be in playoff contention. I think it's tough. But the middle of the schedule, there's some easier stuff to navigate there. And there's a couple of pockets where I think you gained a scheduling advantage. That's what I would say. With the way the schedule is sequenced, there's more winnable games in there than I would have thought, right? Like, I'm glad you're getting the Chiefs on a long week to prepare. You get the Giants, who I think you're kind of even with, coming off a bye, extra time to prepare. We know how good Belichick is off a bye. That's good. What is interesting is kind of where the Patriots are at in the national landscape. The Patriots are irrelevant is the wrong word, but the Patriots are not the draw clearly that they have been in the past. They're clearly not the draw they've been in the past. You look at the primetime games, right? Everybody gets a Thursday game. So them playing Pittsburgh on national TV means nothing for me. Every team gets a primetime game on Thursday. They're getting sent to Germany. Okay, that doesn't make them highly coveted by the networks. It just meant it was their time to go overseas, and they have the agreement in Germany. The Patriots really got 3 primetime standalone games, which is not nothing. But in the Tom Brady era, we're talking about 5. I think the Bills have 7 standalone games this year. Patriots got Monday against KC, Sunday against Miami, and the Christmas Eve night game against Denver. And that's going to be a big one. Okay, that's a big game on the road at Denver. I'll be very fascinated about that one because I think Denver's a very interesting team to watch. They were bad last year. Russ was bad last year. But when you have Sean Payton come in, I just think Russ is going to be better this year. I just think Russ is going to be better than this year. I think that Denver's going to be better this year. Here's the kind of the next steps. Here's where we're at right now in the football schedule. So we've had free agency. We've had the draft. Now we've had the schedule release. Patriots have rookie mini camp going on today. First look at the rookies in Foxborough. And then we're going to have more OTAs, and then we'll be off to training camp, and there'll be time to do the damn thing again. There truly is now almost no downtime in the NFL schedule. We will do our best to continue to cover the Celtics and their run and cover the Red Sox and also bring you the Patriots news that is out there. But Patriots news will be a little lighter. We'll get to OTAs and then we'll have stuff, but, a little lighter. But there truly is no ever actual downtime in the NFL schedule. It is the Brady Farkas Show, brought to you by Effecto Homes on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Texter says, Brady, if there's one game you could go to in Foxborough, what would it be? Well, I'd love to see the Tom Brady ceremony week 1, but that's such a hard matchup with the Eagles. I'd like to go where I can see them win. I'd probably like to see him play the Chargers. Now, that's a game December 3rd. It won't be super cold just yet. I want to see Herbert, West Coast team coming east. I think it'll be a fascinating matchup. That's kind of the game that I would want. That's the kind of the game that I would want to go watch, I should say. If I could go see a game on the road, I don't have much of an interest in Germany. I'd probably want to go to the Denver game on Christmas Eve. I mean, I'd hate to give up my Christmas Eve, but Denver, December. And by the way, for the Pats, that's tough. 2 cold weather trips in back-to-back weeks, Denver and Buffalo. That is going to be hard. Maybe Dallas. Yeah, maybe Dallas. But I think the Denver game on Christmas Eve would be pretty appealing. All right. We will step aside. We'll get the national news update from CBS News. We will come back. We'll get you ready for the Red Sox as they take on the Cardinals. I'll give you the lineups for the Sox as they look to start off the series on the right foot against a really struggling Cardinals team. Hard to believe how far they have fallen this year. My expectations for James Paxton, they're not particularly high. I'll tell you what I want to see, though, for Paxton, what I'm going to be watching for. We'll get to that next here on WDEV AM and FM.
This is WDEV, Vermont's news station, owned and operated by the Radio Vermont Group. From the top of Sugarbush, 96.1 FM, WDEV Warren and Waitsfield, 96.5 W243 Barrie, 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier, along with our founding station, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury Montpelier, streaming at WDEVradio.com. 91 years of serving Vermont, the friendly pioneer, WDEV.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Wendy Gillette in New York. A jury found Idaho mom Lori Vallow Daybell guilty on all counts, including murdering her 2 children. CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson says the testimony of Daybell's surviving child was powerful.
He said, and we heard the jailhouse calls, where he said, basically, you killed my younger siblings. I can't believe you did this. I never would have believed it, but now I do.
Title 42 ended at midnight. CBS's Nicole Skanga reports from the southern border on the Biden administration's new immigration policy.
Under the policy now in effect, migrants cannot gain asylum without first applying for it in another country. Those caught crossing illegally face a 5-year ban and possible criminal charges. Sister Norma Pimentel runs Catholic Charities, one of the biggest nonprofit migrant shelters in Texas.
I care about the families and making sure that they're treated with dignity and respect.
She says the policy change is making it difficult for migrants to know what to expect. A 17-year-old migrant child from Honduras who arrived in the U.S. without a parent or guardian has died in federal custody in Florida, U.S. officials confirmed today.
Marine veteran Daniel Penny made his first court appearance. He allegedly applied a fatal chokehold to New York City subway passenger Jordan Neely. CBS's Michael George has more.
After leaving the police station in handcuffs, Penny appeared in court, where he was released on bond. His attorneys say he never meant to kill Neely and that he risked his life to protect others. If found guilty of manslaughter, he could face 15 years in prison.
General Motors is recalling almost 1 million sport utility vehicles in the U.S. The driver's airbag inflator in the affected vehicles may explode during deployment. GM learned about the issue because of a crash involving a 2017 Chevy Traverse in which the inflator ruptured during deployment. A federal report was released that says an alarm went off on a Norfolk Southern freight train shortly before it derailed near Newcastle, Pennsylvania Wednesday night. CBS's Christopher Cruz.
The National Transportation Safety Board says the alarm came from a hot bearing detector. The derailment of 9 train cars happened about 20 miles from the site of an early February incident in East Palestine, Ohio. Then, a Norfolk Southern operated train with cars carrying toxic vinyl chloride and other hazardous chemicals went off the tracks. The contents spilled and caught fire.
A deal to buy the Washington Commanders is final. The sale price, a record $6 billion. The stock market's finished down. The Dow finished 8 points lower. The S&P 500 dropped 6. This is CBS News.
Find your next great hire with Indeed. Their hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all at the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credits.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
Because Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So wait, you do it because you have to?
No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. Our clients trust us with their retirement savings, and we know how important that responsibility is. So we take the time to really get to know them.
Get to know them how?
We make sure we understand their unique goals, finances, health, family, and lifestyle, so we can tailor their portfolio to their specific needs. Our goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Sounds like a big responsibility. You must make big commissions then, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We have one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
A new gang the gang on Sesame Street is being joined by a new character. CBS's Deborah Rodriguez.
Confidence, Mr. Carroll? What's that? TJ is the first Muppet of Filipino descent on Sesame Street. The 4-year-old made his debut with a lesson on confidence from former Obama administration staffer Cal Penn.
TJ, how do you show your confidence?
Oh, well, I'm learning Tagalog. It's a language my Filipino family speaks,
And I am confident because I can always ask my Lola for help when I don't know a word.
TJ says he likes to garden with his grandparents and spend time with his sister and other family members when they visit from California. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
The owners of 16 organizations have sent a letter to NASCAR's board of directors asking for meaningful dialogue as talks continue about a new revenue model. NASCAR is working out the economic terms of its new media deal. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
Want Brady to hear your opinion on the sports stories of the day? Text in 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. Kyle says, gotta see the Steelers, Brady. That would be the one that you'd want to see. Go live a little. Live a little by going to Pittsburgh? I thought going to Denver on Christmas Eve would have been living a little bit. Like, I thought that would have been a good game to go see. The Patriots and Steelers play each other all the time for a while. So did the Patriots in Denver. But Russ has had good success against the Patriots. I think that would be a good game to see. I think Denver, Colorado, Christmas time, snow, mountains, etc., skiing. I think that would be a good environment. Pittsburgh? You're telling me that's the most desirable trip on the Patriots schedule? Miami would be more desirable. Germany would be more desirable. Vegas would be more desirable. Dallas would be more desirable. Pittsburgh might be one of the games I want to go to least on the Patriots schedule. The Jets would be one. I have no desire to go to New York. Giants, then 2 is the same result. Pittsburgh 3. I mean, my goodness. You're giving me Pittsburgh as the best game to go see on the Patriots schedule on the road? No, thank you. James Paxton going to pitch tonight for the Sox, make his Sox debut. I am nervous about what we're going to get. I've seen James Paxton at his best, and I love watching him pitch. That said, he hasn't really pitched in 4 years. I have a hard time believing he's going to come in and be a huge difference maker. I hope that I am wrong. When James Paxton, here's what I want to see. When James Paxton is at his best, the velocity is 95 to 97. He's not afraid to go on the inner half and just dot the inner half. He's got a spiked curveball that he'll throw and get you to chase down in the dirt. And he's got a slider that will bury you on the back foot of a righty. When James Paxton is at his best, that's what he looks like. The fastball is 95 to 97 and in. The slider is coming down on your back foot. And the curveball is in the dirt and you're swinging at it. That's James Paxton at his best. That's vintage Paxton. It was the Paxton that threw a no-hitter for the Mariners against Toronto. It was the Paxton that pitched well for the Yankees for a year or two. I don't know if we're going to get that guy. Does he have the control to do the things that I just said? Will he have the velocity 95, 97, or is it going to be 92, 94? 92, 94 is immensely hittable. 97's a lot less hittable. I know the reports on his velocity have been pretty good, but we will see what happens. I hope I'm wrong. Guy hasn't really pitched in 4 years. 21 innings since 2019. He threw 20 innings in 2020 in the COVID season. He threw 1 inning in 2021 and hasn't thrown since. Now, he's thrown in the minors. He's done rehab stuff, so it's not like he hasn't done anything. I just doubt that it's going to translate perfectly. I doubt it's going to translate perfectly. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am. The Cardinals won the NL Central last year and are now in last place in it. 13-25. The Red Sox are 22-16. They're in third in the AL East. Pitching matchup is Paxton against Adam Wainwright, who's only made 1 start himself this year, but the longtime Cardinal has an ERA of 7.20 in that 1 start. Tommy Edman leads off at second. Paul Goldschmidt's at first, the reigning NL MVP. Wilson Contreras is the DH. He's hitting third. Nolan Arenado, the longtime All-Star, is at third base. They have a left fielder today by the name of Juan Yepes. He is hitting .315 in limited action this season. Dylan Carlson's in center. Paul DeYoung is at short. Lars Nootbaar is in right. And the catcher is Andrew Neisner. For the Sox, Alex Verdugo in right, Yoshida in left, Justin Turner, the DH, Rafi Devers back at third, Jaron Duran's in center, Tristan Casas at first, Kike Hernandez the shortstop, and Manuel Valdez at second, and Connor Wong is the catcher, and he bats ninth. I will see you on Monday, everybody. When we're here on Monday, we'll be getting ready for Red Sox Mariners, and I'm sure I will be grumpy as a result of it, and will hopefully not be grumpy about the Celtics. Go Seas, everybody. Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. Thank you to my mom. I love you, and we'll see you later on DEV.